Hi, today is Wednesday, and today we're going to be moving on and continuing our study of multi-step word problems. So I'm going to share my Schoology page with you. I'm in the Wednesday folder, and the first thing I see is an anchor chart for you to refer to. The title of it is Solving Word Problems. Ever since the beginning of this school year, every time we see a word problem, we follow the same steps. Number one, read the whole way through. Number two, then we go back and highlight the important words. Number three, we look at what we know and what we need to find out. That's all part of preparing and planning. So when you're planning, you want to ask yourself, what do I know? And remember, a lot of times we take notes right on our paper underneath the problem of the information I know and also what you need to find out, which is the second question you should ask yourself. The third question is, how will I solve? This is when we're coming up with our plan on how we're going to tackle these problems. After we finish planning, we go and move on to solving. When you're solving, you should be thinking of these questions. How can I show my thinking? That's why it's so important to always put your work down so I can follow your thought process of how you decide to tackle and solve the problem. If for some reason you have an incorrect answer, a lot of times that's the best way for me to go back and help redirect your thinking so that you'll get the answer next time. You could also ask yourself, is there another way to solve the problem? Because, we've been using equations, drawing pictures, using place value charts, so many different ways that if you solve it using two different methods and you have the same answer, then you can be super confident that your answer is correct. And the last thing that you're going to do is check. So think about how you could check your work and if your answer makes sense. Okay, the next thing on our math to-do list today is the lesson 13 problem set. You're going to turn in your student workbooks right now to page 67. I'll give you a minute. In the directions for today, it said to have your student workbook ready, a pencil, and a calculator. For the past 2 to 3 weeks, we've really been focusing on multiplying. And remember, I told you, it's not always going to be the case where you have to figure out all the answers to every problem. We practice multiplying because you need to know how to multiply. But now we're not so concerned with you getting the correct answers when you're multiplying. So we're going to use the calculator as a tool. Our main focus with these problems is being able to read the problem and figure out what you need to do to solve. So we're going to free up some of our brain by using the calculator because you're going to see these are pretty challenging. These are my favorite problems in math. They're real life problems. A lot of them deal with money and they're like puzzles. You have to come up with a way to tackle the problem. Okay, so I hope you're ready. On page 67, number 1. This tells us to use the read, draw, write process. I'm going to cross that out because we're simply going to be worrying about solving these problems. Number 1. A little bit closer. Over the summer, Katie earned $180 each week for 7 weeks. Of that money, she spent $375 on a new computer and $137 on new clothes. How much money did she have left? Okay, so Katie earned $180 each week for 7 weeks. Of that money, she spent $375 on a new computer and $137 on new clothes. How much money did she have left? So, what's the problem about? I hope you said the problem is about Katie and she earned some money over the summer, bought some things, and we need to figure out what she has left. So let's start there. What's the first thing I'm going to do? I think the first thing I need to know is how much money she made total. So let's see. Katie earned $180 each week for 7 weeks. I want to figure out how much money she earned total. So I'm going to take 180 and multiply it by 7. If you are someone who's been coming to school face-to-face and you didn't bring your calculator home, you can use anything that you have at home, a calculator. I'm sure there's like, if you type down here calculator on your computer, I think one will pop up if you have one on a different device. But if you do come to back and forth from school, you can put this in your backpack and bring it back and forth to do calculator drills. If you're someone that's fully remote and you would like to borrow one of these from school, please let me know and I'll send one to the office with your name on it and someone can pick it up for you. So I'm going to type in 180 times 7, 1,260. Okay, so that's how much money she earned. So here's her big, oh my God, here's her big sack of money, $1,260. She spent $375 on a new computer and $137 on clothes. Computer and clothes. Okay, so I'm going to add 375 and 137 to get 512. Okay, so I'm going to write right here, earned, spent. How much money did she have left? This key word, have left, that should tell you I need to subtract. So then I'm going to take 1,260 minus 512. Now I'm very confident if we weren't using calculators, you could solve this now. You know how to do that. You know how to add and you know how to subtract. So it is possible. You've learned all of these skills. So when I type 1,260 minus 512 in my calculator, I get a total of $748. If you're up for the challenge, you could try solving these using paper and pencil first, and then checking with your calculator. So let me go back and make sure my answer makes sense. So if she earned $180 each week for 7 weeks, that's about $200 a week. I know 200 times 7 is 1,400-ish. That's a little bit of a high estimate. Then she spent about 400 and about another 150. So 400 plus 150 is 550. So it does make sense that if she was in the thousands and spent a few $100s to be in the hundreds range. So I do believe my answer makes sense. Okay, let's go and move on to number 2. Sylvia weighed 8 pounds when she was born. By her first birthday, her weight had tripled. By her second birthday, she had gained 12 more pounds. At that time, Sylvia's father weighed 5 times as much as she did. What was Sylvia and her dad's weight combined? Okay, let's go back and see what's important. Sylvia weighed 8 pounds. She was born. First birthday, weight tripled. Second birthday, gained 12 more pounds. At that time, father weighed 5 times as much as she did. Now we need to figure out Sylvia and dad's combined weight. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Give me the gist of this problem. What's it about? Don't tell me any numbers yet. Go ahead and say it out loud. I hope you said something along the lines of, we need to figure out, this problem is about weight, and we need to figure out how much Sylvia and dad weighed together. So now let's dive in and see what we know. All right, here's little Sylvia. When she was born, she weighed 8 pounds. LBS is an abbreviation for pounds. Okay, so here's when she was born. So then we know her first birthday. Let's see, Sylvia got a little bit bigger. Her weight tripled. So if we double, we multiply by 2. Triple, we multiply by 3. So I'm going to take her weight and triple it. So 8 times 3, I know, is 24. So when she was 1 year old, she weighed 24 pounds. Then we move on to her second birthday. So she got a little more big. Now she gained 12 pounds. Gained 12. So we're adding 12, increasing by 12. So I'm going to take my 24 and I'm going to add 12 pounds to it. And since I've worked with 12s a lot, I can do this one mentally. 24 plus 12 gives me 36 pounds. It's been a long day, so I am going to double check just to make sure. Yep, 36. I'll check my math fact too. 8 times 3. Well, 8 times 3. 24. So far, so good. So when Sylvia was 2, she weighed 36 pounds. Here's Dad. Her father weighed 5 times as much. So he was 5 times 36 pounds. So I'm going to clear my calculator. 5 times 36, 180. Let's go back and just make sure we did everything correctly. 8 pounds at birth. First birthday, her weight tripled. So I multiplied by 3, got 24 pounds. Second birthday, she gained 12. So I added 12. And I checked on my calculator and got 36 pounds. So at that time, so we're still referring to her second birthday, her father weighed 5 times as much. 5 times, and I took her weight at 2 years old. Check that one more time on my calculator. Make sure I press all the buttons correctly. 180 pounds. All right. So those were 2 examples of multi-step word problems and how you would tackle them to solve. So now it's your turn to try some. So when we go back to your Schoology, today's Wednesday, and here's your Wednesday assignment. You're going to turn to page 69 in your student workbook, and you're going to solve numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Solving them, showing all of your work in this workbook. Then at the end, you click on this link and you submit your final answers. After you submitted your answers, you're going to get on Extra Math and practice your facts for about 10 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.